Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballet Rain. As ballet dancers, our costumes are actually a really big part of what we do.
It's a big part of the whole ballet experience for the audience because a costume really makes or breaks the performance. It can really transform you into a different person, and it also helps us to kind of embody that character a little bit easier.
Yeah, so most of our costumes are custom made. It's like couture.
By hand.
Yeah, custom made by hand by a seamstress or a costume team, and they're really, really intensive to make. You know, embellished by hand, everything. It's very, very expensive.
However, that brings us to the topic of today's video.
We have found some sites on the internet that claim to provide ballet costumes. We're very curious as to whether or not these costumes can rival a handmade, professionally crafted couture ballet garment. Will they even be comparable? Will they match the ballet they're supposed to be made for? Will they match the role they were made for? We don't know. We'll have to find out. So stay tuned, hit the like button, and let's... So our team has lovingly hand-picked a few of these commercially manufactured ballet costumes that we are going to review today. Here we go. This may or may not become a roast. Probably not. Maybe just a mic torching. We'll see.
Make sure you write your thoughts in the chats. Yay, nay, or may. B.
First one, let's go. Ooh.
I saw the tutu at first, and I was like, Kitri! And I looked at the title, and it says, Carmen! So that's automatically like, No, if you look at the real costume for Carmen, it's actually a lot more of a contemporary vibe. Just because of the sleeker silhouette, that kind of is a little bit more form-fitting, at least at like the skirt area. And it's a very, very short skirt, generally with a lot of fringe.
Yeah, it's
very contemporary.
Even if you had just looked up Carmen, you would know that this is not...
This is not
Carmen.
the look.
This here is definitively Kitri. The fan is Kitri.
Yeah,
the tutu is Kitri. If you just renamed it Kitri, they would have done an acceptable job.
Yeah, it would have been okay. The only thing I would do to change this, to make it into Carmen, is just fit it with a sleeker, short, black skirt to go with it instead of the fluffy tutu that they have going on here. And then it could easily be called Carmen. Yeah. Minus the fan.
Yeah, minus the fan and maybe add like a little fringy skirt instead of the tutu.
Exactly.
That's all I would do, just swap that out.
Right. Not bad. All right, let's keep going.
Oh!
Yeah, I see what they were trying to do, but I think we could have done a little bit better. In terms of color palette choice, for ballet costumes, traditionally we don't use the colors that you would find in a Crayola box. Usually our colors are very muted just because they're emphasized so much with that bright light, and anything that's too bright can be very overpowering, I think, for most roles, especially for something so ethereal and fairy-like as Midsummer Night's Dream. You definitely want something a little bit more understated so that it maintains that fairy-like quality.
Another thing I would do is lengthen the skirt considerably.
I agree.
For romantic tutus, you definitely want it below the knee.
Yep.
And if you've actually watched her Midsummer Night's Dream commentary, you'll see she has a pretty long romantic tutu going on.
Yep. So yes, extend the skirt to below the knees.
Yes.
Mute down the colors. I don't mind the green. The green would have been fine. Even the skirt isn't horrible, but just the top part is a little bit too strong. But what they did good about this is that they tried to keep the very classical sweetheart neckline with the invisible strap. So yeah, they did that right in terms of comparing it with most professional costumes. Yeah.
All in all, not horrible.
It's not horrible at all.
Oh.
The dying swan?
Why?
What is this? No, this looked like a swan just swam into an ink spill. That was actually really sad.
That was sad.
Okay, so for context, I think everybody knows that traditional white swan tutu. Yeah. It's seen in Swan Lake, and it's the same thing for the dying swan.
Yeah, it's always platter tutu, always.
Pure white.
Pure
white feathered headpiece. It's a very iconic look.
Yeah.
So to call this the dying swan is a little bit
sad.
You just have to read one article or just look at one photo to
Yeah.
know kind of the gist of what you're supposed to be going
Yeah,
for.
exactly.
A lot of these costumes are also for children. A lot of them are getting exposed to these costumes that are clearly not named correctly.
Yeah.
So I think they start to make wrong associations with different pieces and their
Yeah.
costumes, and I don't think that's what we should be doing to young children and young students who maybe don't have proper knowledge about it.
Although I will say, the costume is very pretty. It has
is.
a very starry ballroom kind of feel.
Like if you put this in Merry Widow or something, that would be gorgeous.
Merry Widow, it would be wonderful. I'm thinking anything really waltzy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another one.
Like La Valse.
La Valse would be very pretty
Yeah.
for this one. Just don't call it the Dying Swan.
Don't call it the Dying Swan.
This is not the Dying Swan, but
Yeah.
it is a very pretty costume nonetheless.
Oh.
Whoa!
Wow. I'm impressed that they knew about the tarantella.
Yeah, I'm
And-
impressed that they got the sort of the townsgirl, like the peasant dress
Yeah.
vibe down.
The ribbons even, and the tambourine, like,
Yeah, they
wow,
got this.
Nice.
The colors, to be honest, it's not horrible just because, at least in the ballet world, Italy is a very colorful culture, a very colorful place. I don't know how it is in real life. Italian friends, let us know.
Yeah.
Is your place very colorful? I don't know.
They definitely got it right with that little corset thing with the white underneath.
the
little
puff sleeves.
Apron, yeah.
Not too bad at all. I would just switch out the tambourine for a wooden one with a proper leather skin over it. That's basically all the changes I would make. But overall, silhouette-wise and the little details and stuff, it's pretty spot on actually.
Yeah,
Not too bad.
they got the overall look down, so
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Claire de Lune.
More like Under the Sea? Now, Claire de Lune is not actually a classical ballet. It's just a piece of classical music.
Yeah, so at this point, it's very, very subjective. It's all about how you interpret the piece of music. So this is our opinion at this point.
I don't think it's horrible. I think it's definitely got that serene feeling that the music does carry.
I mean, it seems too coastal to be Claire de Lune.
Just a
You know,
smidgen.
maybe
Yeah.
just because the tan of the lace.
With the seafoam
The
blue,
seafoam
green.
blue, it looks more like seasidey. Honestly, I feel like the one that they called the Dying Swan would fit really well as Claire de
That
Lune.
would work better. I think I would have put the Dying Swan in this one for sure. I think that fits much, much, much better.
Because it has a very sparkly kind of feel. But this
Yeah,
one,
not
I
too
mean,
bad.
it's up to interpretation.
The what of spring? You can't be serious. Okay.
For those of y'all that don't understand, the Rite of Spring.
Also known as the Riot of Spring.
We'll put some videos up here, but Stravinsky was clearly going for a very quintessential ballet look. You know, he was really going for elegance. He was going for class. He was going for like the ballet of all ballets. It was received very well. They definitely did not riot at all.
No, honestly, this is a write-off. I do not approve. Here's how I see this playing out. The child receives the costume for the recital. They read the name, they go, oh, this is from the Rite of Spring.
Imagine this little kid being like, the Rite of Spring. Oh, this must be like the Rite of Spring, the full version. Bink! Human sacrifice.
This could go south real quick. It's not a fatal mistake, but I do believe that we should be appropriately naming these costumes, especially when it comes to children's education.
Yeah.
You don't have to dig very far
Yeah,
at all
exactly.
to find this very basic piece of information of what the Rite of Spring entails and what the overall aesthetic is, and I can tell you, it's not this.
Paquita!
This is not bad. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I'm pretty impressed. I think they got the dark blue color going on with the gold. It gives you a feeling of, you know, opulence and royalty and stuff like that.
My only thing with this costume, and also with the Carmen/Kitri one earlier, the tutus are so small in
diameter.
Yeah, radius, diameter, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's because they are for students, and it does take a lot of material to produce these costumes.
A ton of material to produce these costumes.
Yeah, obviously it makes sense due to the circumstance, but it definitely doesn't give you that fullness of the costume that ballet tends to go towards. But I think design-wise, it's not horrible, actually.
It's really not horrible.
Maybe get rid of the strange blue straps.
Yeah.
Replace them with nude colors.
like invisible
straps.
Yeah.
But that's it, honestly.
Yeah.
I can see this in Paquita. Like,
if you had young students, I think this, it's pretty good.
I think it's okay, yeah.
Next one.
This is...
They took all of my diamond glitter dreams and just...
I'm getting the vibe.
Yeah.
The pink and the off-the-shoulder sleeves.
Yeah. It does have a balletic silhouette.
It's definitely not your classical ballet Sleeping Beauty costume, which would be ordinarily a very ornate platter tutu.
Yeah.
But I think, okay, where I can see this actually working is if you had, a summer intensive and you had rep classes all summer and you were going to do an end of summer showing.
Yeah.
And you don't want all the girls in tutu, so you would give them something, something like classwear, but a little bit nicer for, if you were doing an excerpt from Sleeping Beauty, maybe the coda, maybe the garland waltz.
Yeah.
I think it could actually work in that context.
Yeah.
But if you were doing the full Sleeping Beauty, this would not cut it.
For comparison, here is what the costume is supposed to look like. It's a very ornate tutu, full corset, full platter tutu, diamonds, tiara, crown,
Yep.
everything.
Everything.
Sleeping Beauty is not a contemporary piece.
No.
It's not a pared down piece. It's a full classical ballet.
Yeah.
If I saw this piece on its own, I would not automatically think Sleeping Beauty.
No, I wouldn't either. It is a lovely costume, but not for a full-length Sleeping Beauty. Oh!
It's a look. It seems too dark and too spooky to be Giselle
it's
Act
the spook
1.
factor. I could see where they were going with this one,
Yeah.
to be honest, and I think they definitely did their best. I think the top part of the dress, the creamy sort of ruched front with the puff sleeve, that part I think is great. The corset looks great.
I think probably the most main thing is the color palette.
Yeah.
The black and the blue together, I think that definitely gives sort of a weird look. I always envisioned Giselle, especially the first act, to be a very lighthearted, very wholesome, happy scene. So the black and blue kind of doesn't give that lighthearted energy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, some productions, they like to go pretty spooky from the start.
Yeah.
So it is subjective, definitely. What our opinion is, like, take it with a grain of salt. A big grain of salt.
I think the thing that kills it for me is the choker. And I know you could easily just lose the choker, but this looks like duct tape. That's all I'm saying. Okay, we're going all craft supply through my analogy now. No, maybe for the Duchess, there might be a better possibility, and sometimes she wears the ruff or whatever they have.
But all in all, you can tell they did some research.
Yeah.
Especially with the blue. They knew Giselle usually wears a blue dress, or in a lot of productions she wears a blue dress. They got the corset down, they got the white top bit down, so
I think they definitely had good intentions. Just the execution was a little bit off, but honestly it's not too bad. Minus a choker, we could still call it Giselle.
What if there was pink? This looks purple to me. What if it was?
What if it was pink? No, this seriously looks like a fuchsia purple, almost like an orchid, if you want to go back to like your Crayola pencil crayons. It's orchid.
I think they're trying to blend a modern color with a modern cut, like the high neck with the sleeve, like mine is today.
Yeah.
The modern cut and a modern color, and then a traditional romantic fluffy skirt.
It's a bit disjointed, I guess you could say. There's a lot of contemporary ballet
where they're in bright colors, but it's a modern look. And that way, at least it all looks cohesively modern.
I mean, it's subjective, obviously. These are just our thoughts.
Capulet.
Capulet. Okay, this actually isn't too bad.
I can see where they were going with this, for sure.
It actually is a pretty good representative of the real costume that you find in the real Romeo and Juliet ballet. Even the color, even though it's a darker color, it does suit the vibe of the piece because Romeo and Juliet is a very mature, very dark ballet. I think the cut is really good. The empire waist is great. Invisible straps, sweetheart. The long gloves definitely add. I think that's perfect.
For sure.
That looks really, really good.
At this point, the choker would work.
Yes, it does.
It's a bit thick.
Since they're nobility, it actually does work.
It is acceptable, for sure.
The only thing I would change, though, is make it not a high-low skirt.
Yeah.
For ballet, generally, I mean, I'm sure someone's made exceptions out there, but generally we don't do high in the front, low in the back sort of skirt. Everything's very even.
Yeah. Just because when you're turning, it looks nicer.
It does look nicer. But all in all, this is really very good. The
cello
song? Do they mean the do 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 do?
Wait, let me look it up what it's called.
I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear
I'm pretty
cello
sure
song.
it's so famous. The cello song.
I think that's funny. They just call it the cello song instead of
the Bach Cello Suite #1 Prelude.
Yeah, that's really funny. Okay, so it looks like they were trying to go for again, that sort of hybrid between a classical and a modern tutu. So let's break this down. They tried to do the sweetheart, which I would have loved if they had made it just a sweetheart. But then they ended up adding the mesh part, which kind of comes together to the neck in like sort of a halter-ish cut. The halter neck does not work with the overall general ballet aesthetic because all things in ballet is trying to emphasize the width and like the expanse of the shoulders.
Yeah.
So bringing the neckline inwards, it definitely takes it away from
the classical
sort of aesthetic.
Which isn't a bad thing, it's just maybe don't pair it with a romantic skirt. Subjective. I do think the velvet was a good choice.
The velvet was a fantastic choice. I think it really suits the music. The music itself, I feel like is pretty full, pretty rich.
It has that warm kind of tone to it.
Exactly. So I think the velvet was a good choice. Yeah. The purple, I mean, it was a pretty good choice, I guess. Yeah. Longer skirt would have been nice though, just my preference. It
could be a contemporary ballet piece or it could be a classical ballet piece. But this one, it's trying to be both, but it ends up being neither.
Yeah, not my favorite. But y'all let us know what you think. Sylvia!
That's not Sylvia.
I think they tried with the periwinkle-ish blue.
Yeah. The skirt itself could be Waltz of the Hours.
Yes, I think so.
I don't know what's going on with the bodice.
It really does not give you the classical ballet look. I think what I would do different is get rid of all the glitter. We use sequins, I guess. They usually use little rhinestones. They don't put it in swirls all the way up and all the way around.
Yeah.
It's usually focused like on the center of the garment.
Yes.
So this is a little overkill for me.
Yeah.
You could call it Capelli and it would make a little bit more sense.
Maybe.
A little bit more so. Obviously not classical ballet, but it makes more sense than Sylvia because I think just having the ribbon at the bottom of the skirt with the flowers and stuff, it really brings it down to, that sort of that townsgirl sort of peasant vibe.
Yeah.
This is a no from me.
No for me as well, but you knew that already.
Yeah.
La Vie en Rose.
How about La Vie en Bleu?
La Vie en Rose? No. La Vie en Bleu? Oui. It's blue.
It's clearly blue. There are roses, so that kind of is like the saving grace of this costume versus the name. However, I think this is one of the nicest ones from the waist down that I've seen. You know that sculpture of the little dancer? It looks like that. And I really appreciate that they made that sort of basque come down to a point where the leotard meets the skirt.
Yeah.
That gives it a very classical ballet sort of line.
Definitely more of a ballet look.
Yes.
Obviously the skirt is a bit short, but if you're going with that specific Edgar Degas sculpture, then it would work.
It does work. And I think the colors are actually really nice for this one. It is that muted, sort of nuanced color. You'd have to mix 2 of your crayons to make this color, I guess. Yeah, so I think this one is actually pretty nice. Aside from the straps that kind of does bring the shoulder width inwards visually.
Yeah.
But,
and the sequins.
And the sequins, but all in all, it's really not that bad. I think the colors, the skirt, and then the pointed basque kind of saves it a little bit.
Yeah, it does save it.
It does.
Considerably. Oh, we made it!
We did it! I don't think we roasted too hard.
I hope we didn't roast too hard.
So that was us reviewing commercially manufactured ballet costumes. I think that a lot of these had pretty good intentions. There's definitely room for growth in this area of, the ballet market.
Hopefully, in the future, companies will be able to find a way to manufacture costumes in a cost-effective way so that it's more accessible for young students to be able to get a quality costume that looks good on stage, that elevates their performance, and doesn't cheapen all the training they've put in.
Right. I hope that we will see some things advanced in the, the coming years for all of this new crop of talent that we're seeing come up. There are some really talented young dancers out there, so hopefully costumes won't take away from their stellar performances, but instead, kind of elevate it to a degree.
If any of these companies are continuing to make costumes and they want, some advice on, design and the overall vibe, what to go for, hit us up. We have a wealth of opinion, apparently. Anyway, we hope y'all enjoyed the video.
Leave a comment down below. Would you wear these costumes? Let us know. We would love to read y'all's opinions and thoughts about this matter.
If you liked the video, make sure you like the video, and if you really like the video, you can share it with a friend, and if you really like us, you can subscribe to our channel. And I think that is all from us for now. This is Ballet Rain signing off. Until the next video.
Bye. We're gonna see how this goes. But sorry, the Amazon truck just drove by.
That was our truck driving neighbor. It is.
C'est bleu.
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 C'est
C'est
bleu.
bleu.